Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning, the 21st of June. And in this video, I'm going to give an update on Jay Slater, the 19-year-old young man who is missing in the Spanish island of Tenerife, which is one of the Canary Islands. It belongs to Spain, but it's actually off the coast of the West Sahara. And Jay was on holiday there with some friends. And he's been missing since Monday. And this is a desperate search because it appears he's lost in the mountains. Very arid area, no running water, no rivers apparently. So it's desperate search for Jay Slater. And I did a live stream over on Michelle Walks yesterday with all of the basics. So go and check that out if you want a little bit more detail on the basic stuff. But in short, there was a 3-day music festival. And on Sunday, the last day of the festival, Jay, instead of going back to his accommodation where he was staying in Los Cristianos, which is in the south of the island, he didn't go back to the accommodation with his friends. He went off with 2 guys that he'd met at the festival. And it appears that they drove him 30 miles to the north, to the Masca area. That's where Jay has disappeared from. So he called his friend Lucy early on the Monday morning, so like 8:15, 8:30, something along those lines, and said that he'd left the house, he was walking, and he was thirsty, he'd been cut by a cactus, and he had 1% battery on his phone. Shortly after, his phone died. So Lucy called the cops and raised the alarm, and it took a while for the cops, I think, to take her seriously. Anyway, Jay has been missing since then. So I want to share some information about the men who Jay went off with. Now, this is a very dangerous thing to do. If you're on holiday with anybody, don't go off with 2 random guys. Don't do it. However drunk you are, maybe they were offering him drugs, I've no idea. I mean, the amount of vitriol that's online, like blaming Jay, calling Jay a criminal because there's a guy of his name who was convicted of hitting a teenager over the head with a machete and a golf club. Is it the right guy? I don't know. I haven't looked into it. It's not relevant. Look, the dude's missing. You can contemplate his criminal background and the fact that he didn't get a prison term once he's been found. You can debate all that till the cows come home. The important thing at this moment in time is this young man's missing. So this story has gripped the nation. People are calling it the new Shannon Matthews case. Shannon Matthews, of course, was hidden by her mother, only like a little girl. What was she, 7 or 9, something like that, because her mother wasn't the brightest tool in the box and thought she could collect like thousands of pounds of reward money. Of course, it all fell apart and she ended up in prison along with Michael Donovan, I think his name was, who was holding Shannon. So this case is nothing like the Shannon Matthews case. Nothing like it, but this is just how crazy it's got in just 4 days. I did say in my live stream yesterday that I'd seen Jay Slater trending on Twitter, and I thought, oh, here we go. We just need Peter Folding to turn up. At least there's no Rivers or Reeds involved in this case. All right, so I'm going to share this story. This is coming from the Daily Mirror. Obviously, this is just what the Daily Mirror are reporting. Exclusive, missing Brit Jay Slater spotted walking alone by a Tenerife local before disappearing. Okay, a local from Tenerife, so this is someone who's living in Masca, has revealed details about the 2 British men Jay Slater was last seen with before his disappearance. Jay went missing on Monday morning after he left with 2 other men while out with friends on the island at the NRG Festival. On Monday morning, Jay attempted to walk back to the south of the island, called his friend Lucy May Law, letting her know his phone battery was at 1%. Apparently, there's a bus that would have taken him, and you can see the bus stops there, from Masca, it's remote, but it's a well-known hiking spot. People go up into the mountains, lots of hiking trails and things like that. and you can take this bus all the way down south. But Jay apparently missed this bus and said he was going to walk. A woman identified only as Araceli, who works in the business next to the rental property where he was taken, stated, "I never saw the missing boy, but I know people saw him walking on his own." So he'd not been kidnapped by these two guys and been told to ring Lucy and tell a story. I think that's the take home from this. I saw the two British men who stayed here. They came in for cafe con leche a couple of times. One was aged about 40, the other one slightly younger. So a 19-year-old young man goes off with a 40-year-old man. Okay. The woman confirmed the police have spoken to them both. So the police know who they are. That was my fear yesterday, because we had no information about who these guys were. We don't know whether the police knew who they were, but apparently they have been spoken to. They arrived on Saturday, but were due to stay until Monday, so they just came for the NRG Festival. But they left on Tuesday. So they have left the island, so the reports that were coming out yesterday about these two men fleeing the island, I don't think is strictly true. Like, they were only there for the weekend anyway. And the police have spoken to them. When asked if they had to remain to be interviewed by the police, she responded, "I don't know." And that's the house. It's a rental property where these two British men were staying, where they took Jay to. So you can see, middle of the mountains. Both men have checked out of their accommodation and flown back to the UK yesterday. Jay had posted a photo of himself, cigarette in hand, on the steps of the property shortly before his disappearance. So it's not like he fled in fear of his life. You know, if he was fleeing in fear of his life, he wouldn't just pose for a cigarette. So there's Jay with his mother. I think that's his brother. Lucy May Law, a friend of Jay's, raised the alarm after receiving a call from him around 8 a.m. on Monday. An apprentice bricklayer from Oswaldtwistle in Lancashire. So I live in the great county of Lancashire, but Oswaldtwistle, which has got a very strange name, is the other side of Blackburn from me. It's like the east of Lancashire. I'm in the south. So I've never been to Oswaldtwistle. There's not a lot there, I don't think. Told her he was walking back to accommodation in the south of the island, feeling thirsty and with only 1% of battery left on his phone. Jay's phone went dead shortly after, and his last known location was traced to the rural Tillington area, a mountainous region of the island, and his parents and his brother have flown out to Tenerife to assist in the search. Lucy says she's not happy with the efforts of the Civil Guard, demands the British police help with the search for her friend. I don't know that the British police have jurisdiction. I think they'd have to be invited to go and assist in the search. But she said, "We need British police here. I just want to find my mate. He's been missing 3 days. Now we're into, if you count Monday, this is like the beginning of like day 5, like all day Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's only 4 days, but it feels like 5, if you will. It's not looking good now. We feel as though it's down to us to find him and that we're doing more than the police." I don't think they are, honestly. There's a lot of search parties out there. There's a lot. Police have been conducting searches in a rural mountainous area near the village of Masca, where he was last traced. Since then, more information has come to light about the two men he was last seen with on Sunday night, as images of the rental property have surfaced. And in my live stream yesterday, I was virtually driving along this area. And I was on the right road, as I'll show you in a second. But there's a bus stop, just to prove that there is bus stops along this road. If he carried on walking along this road, he'd have been fine. People would have seen him. So he's either fallen down somewhere. People are speculating maybe he's tried to get to the coast, thinking that that's where he needs to go to, because like Los Cristianos is on the coast. It depends what state he was in, doesn't it? But this guy here, who is British, but he lives in Tenerife, he's been out there to the scene, to the area where Jay's phone last pinged. So this is the night strider. I'm just going to play you a little bit of this just to show you what this environment's like.
Show you just how intense the landscape is here. So this is the road that I've just come down, which is quite towards the start of it. You can see the low clouds going over. I've just pulled up there, but the landscape, it is unbelievable, really. I mean, look at the steep drop-off you've got here. I don't want to go any closer to this edge. But you can see the road we're going to be winding down, just down to there.
So this road is the right road that I was showing you yesterday. You can see just how steep it is. It actually looks like the Scottish Highlands, but just with cactuses.
The people I can see on the webcams and things all seem to be sticking to, you know, roadways. But you can see why, because the steep drop-off, it would be impossible to sort of walk along this sort of area. I mean, look how steep it is. You couldn't even walk through that anyway. So I think until you're actually here and you can see the landscape itself, you see how steep that is, it'd be impossible not to stay along the roadway for a lot of this. A lot of the reporters are still up there with their zoom lenses. I do think that's a bit of a strategy. Seems to be zooming in on different areas every now and again, probably looking for some movement. But you can see, I mean, it's not easy to just walk down into the, you know, off the paths. It's, you can see as well, I don't know if you can tell from the camera just how the weather just changes every 5 minutes. That wind's picked up again now. It's actually quite cold. I've got the jumper on. I'm not filming too much. I'm trying to keep my eyes sort of peeled.
So very difficult to search all of these areas. I mean, they've got the helicopter and drones out, but there is a no-fly zone over the area. So if you just, you know, go in to fly your drone to see whether you can help, you wouldn't be allowed to. Obviously, the police are flying drones, but people, just the regular public, aren't allowed to. This guy here, I don't know his name, but Night Strider, he'd taken a drone in hope that he could do some drone work, but he couldn't. And there was a search dog down there in the valley when this dude was here. But very, very difficult, like full of like cactuses and very steep, lots of holes, and it's volcanic rock. So it's, yeah, it's very, very challenging, very challenging. I think one positive, though, that I took from Night Strider's video was that it was cold in the late 20s in Los Cristianos in the south, but up there in the mountains he was saying it was only like 17, 18 degrees Celsius. So that was positive, but it gets very cold at night. And also positive is that there's greenery. You know, it rains up there. You could take moisture from those plants. You could eat the plants and take some moisture from them. But if somehow he's got actually into the mountains themselves, I don't know why he would, though. This is the thing. I don't know why he would. You know, if he just stayed on the road, it'd have been okay. It's a mystery, but I don't think he's been kidnapped. I don't think people who are enemies of his from Oswaldtwistle have turned up to Tenerife and kidnapped him. I think this is a straightforward case of someone getting lost in a very difficult place to search. That's my opinion at this moment in time, but it is an active investigation and it's very early on in the case, so things might change, but things might change by this afternoon. But let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.